So, welcome to my talk on the future of the developer economy. And let me start with a question. Please put your hands up who has ever built some software independently, any kind of software. Hands up. Okay. Don't be shy, really just 7 people out of you. Okay, 8. Okay, couple of people. Leave your hands up. It's like it's good to have your hands up, right? No shame in that. And now keep your hands up if you actually deployed it publicly. So it is being used publicly somewhere. Okay, I still see a couple of hands, a bit fewer than before. And now those of you who have actually monetized it, keep your hands up. If it is for free, hands down. Okay, no hands up. Perfect. I was kind of afraid everybody will have hands up and I can go home, but no. So welcome to the talk on how to build, deploy, and monetize your software as an independent Python dev. My name is Matej Hamaš. I'm a senior tech lead at Apify, a Prague-based company. So the developer tools these days are better than ever, right? At least compared to 5 years, 10 years, 20 years ago. You've got different IDEs, you've got VS Code, you've got PyCharm with like myriad of plugins, right? You have GitHub, so it is easy to actually share and collaborate on the software. You have Docker, you can actually like package it, make a small containers, kind of move it around, ship it around. As for the dependencies, you have like pib, you have UV, you have homebrew, like you have dependencies are sorted out for you. You can just, get what you need. And then on the top of all this, in the last couple of years, there is this whole AI boom of AI tools. So you can use ChatGPT for coding, like a coding assistant. You can use Cursor, Windsurf, like you name it, it's out there. Developer tools are just like super good. But what stays to be very hard is how to actually turn your software to a product, right? And ideally to a profitable product if you are an independent developer. And why is it so? So if you actually want to turn your software to a product, you need to care about multiple things. It's not just you doing your local development and running it on your local machine anymore. You need to care about infrastructure, for example. Unless you are building like command line tool or maybe some very simple or maybe some library that you publish into pip or something similar, you need to get the software somehow to the users. These days, very often it is via cloud, right? So suddenly you need to be kind of a DevOps engineer yourself, even if you're an independent developer. You need to deploy it to maybe AWS or Google Cloud, Heroku. You need to understand the Docker properly, maybe use Kubernetes, and there's this whole overhead of complexity just getting the software out to the people if it is kind of cloud-based software. So now imagine you actually manage, right? So then how do users find your software? Like how do you actually know that it exists and it is solving some problem? You probably need a homepage, right? I mean, you can build a simple homepage, let's say just on WordPress in an hour. But you need to also do marketing, and Google should know about your homepage. Otherwise, like nobody will actually find the great thing you have built, right? So you need to care about these. And then let's say you manage and users come, but like who they are and what can they do, right? Now there is this whole realm of like identity management and logins and implementing OAuth, authenticating users and authorizing, giving them the correct permissions. It is very painful. And even when you do this yourself, then there's kind of final boss, and it is how you actually make money, right? How you set up the billing and how you monetize your software. And you may choose to integrate with PayPal or maybe with Paddle or with Stripe. Stripe is super popular these days. Of course, you as an independent dev, you can do it, but it's hard. It takes time. And suddenly from kind of solving the problem you wanted to solve with a software, you need to care about infra and marketing and homepage and billing and authentication, and the list goes on and on and on. So this is hard. And that's where Apify comes in. So Apify is a cloud-based platform where you can build and publish software. And in theory, you can think of Apify as a kind of a black box where you like put code in and you get cash out, right? Just to give you a couple of examples, and I will expand on that later. Of course, this is not like 100% true. So just a couple of examples. For example, Jupri from Indonesia, Danik from Poland, Kaito from Japan. The latter two have been on Apify only for a couple of months now and have been already able to earn thousands of dollars monthly just by monetizing their software on Apify. And what is central to this to Apify is this concept of actor. So can somebody tell me from the audience what actor actually is? Like when you hear actor, like programmer. Okay, we have programmer. Anybody else? When you hear actor, who is actor? Movies. Okay. So, once again, pretending to be. Okay, maybe pretending you are someone you are not. There is still one thing I'm after. All of these are very good. There is one more. So as an actor, you have a script, right? So you are actually acting on something. You have a task to accomplish and you're acting and you are following some script. And that's similar with Apify actors. If you want to read like super into detail on Apify actors, we have actor white paper, like a published paper, where you can actually read about the whole concept and much more. But for the purpose of this workshop, it is enough to know that Actor is a serverless cloud program. Like serverless, it doesn't have a server. It's like AWS Lambda. Cloud, it runs in a cloud. So you can actually package it in Docker and run it in Docker somewhere in the cloud. And it accepts input and it produces output. So good things that can be represented by this kind of concept are, for example, web scraping actors. And that's where actually Apify, that's historically the strongest domain of Apify. You put in URL you want to scrape, the actor goes, fetches some data, and outputs the structured format, getting the data from the web. A broader domain is web automation. It's just not about getting data, but let's say you put a URL and it is able to unsubscribe you from some services or fill in some forms or maybe enroll you to a lecture because there is a high demand and you just want to be fast. So this is all that is something in, like what you want, and then actor runs and it produces you some structured output or does something. Another good example would be in data processing. That's very often when you need to actually process some data, or more recently, AI agents. So basically autonomous agents, you give them a task, they go, do something, book you a hotel, find you a taxi, whatever you fancy, and they just tell you, yeah, we are done. So one more round of exercise. Put your hands up if you already have a software or maybe can think of a kind of a software that fits this paradigm. Okay, we have a couple of hands up. So this input, actor, output. So imagine you have this software, let's say on a GitHub, some repo, and you want to actorize it. You want to turn it to actor to be able to actually run it on Apify. And it's fairly simple. You need to add these 5 files, and technically number 3 and 4 are optional. So you need actor.json, which is a short JSON file with some metadata. You need a Docker file wrapper, which technically just install your piece of code and exposes the entry point, like what should be run when it is run in Docker. And of course, it is always good to have README. You probably already do have README, which tells the world what software does. And then there are these 2 schemas, number 3 and 4, input and output, if you want to have the schema more structured. Good example would be, for example, the doclink. This repo, which has quite a lot of stars on GitHub, they build a software which can parse and process documents, for example, PDFs, and they can do these document integrations. And with our help, they actorize their software, and you can see there is this .actor folder. It has these couple of files. So nothing else. Now it can be run in a way that it has always been run, but now it can also be run on Epify. So what if you don't have such software, right? Like, what if you actually just want to build something, a web scraper or AI agent or some automation tool? Then you have, let's say, two choices. One, you can like do it completely from scratch, which I do not recommend, or you can use ready-made templates on Epify. And you can either work in Epify console, which is our kind of basically in browser. You log in browser, and there is this whole interface where you can use these actors, run them, and build them. Or you can also do most of the things you can do in the console, you can do in CLI. So we have command line utility for terminal, which is open source, where you can do the same things and choose a template. Later in this workshop, I will actually ask you who will be willing to take out your laptops, and we will actually build an actor together in Epify console. So when you start a template, use a template for Epify console and look at the code, like technically there will be these three parts, right? There will be some part for getting an input, then there will be a part for actually doing something with it. For example, here we are using Beautiful Soup HTML kind of processing library to do some scraping, and then there will be a part for actually producing the output. Here we are pushing the data to a data set, which is like a cloud storage on Epify. So you use the template. Now you have your AI agent, web scraper, automator, anything, and you want to push it to the world. So what do? You can publish it to Epify Store, which is like an online marketplace with about, I think the last time I checked, it was 4,500 actors, most of them written not by us, but by the community developers, so people like you, most of them independent devs. And you can think of it as an app store or app store equivalent, but tailored for these agentic scraping automation use cases. When you publish the actor there, you out of the box get a landing page. So if you remember when I talked about like why it is hard to build a product, this was one of it, like how you make sure that the world knows about it. So now you have a landing page, kind of nicely structured with a lot of metadata, and also with the README that you provided. And this landing page is on a separate URL, so it is easy for search engines to find. So Google will find and index this URL. The URL also, since it lives on Epify, it piggybacks on the whole SEO of the Epify. So the ranking will be likely much higher than if you published it on some like random domain that Google has never seen before. So it is up, users can find it, and you might want to communicate with your users, right? So there are two ways you can communicate with the users of your actor. The first one via the console, via the app, you can send them an email, like a newsletter. Basically, you can say, I want to like write this email to all the users of these actors to, for example, communicate a new feature or communicate some change. Or we have this kind of issues ecosystem. If you are familiar with GitHub issues, this is slightly similar, where your users can actually like raise points, report bugs, ask for features, or ask questions. And there are these threads where you can communicate with your users and make sure they are served. So you have landing page, you can communicate. And last but not least part of this flow is to actually earn some money. So how do you do that? There are various ways. Today I will talk about the kind of the most popular one, which is so-called pay-per-event. And it is a two-step process. The first step is that on your actor, you set up chargeable events. So you basically say what your actor can charge for. And this can be basically anything. If it is, for example, a web scraper, like a actor which is scraping something, a popular item would be a result, right? You want to charge for a result. For example, here in this slide, we are charging 1 cent for one result. but you can also charge for other things. You can charge for starting the actor, right? So there is something that the user will be charged right at the start. You can maybe charge for talking to LLMs using some AI systems. You can even charge for like how long it runs. Kind of the longer it runs or the more data it processes, the more you charge the user. And all these events you can charge for, you just like define in the UI, you just create a list. And then you just put these actor charge in the code. So you use the SDK. We have Python and JavaScript SDK. So here obviously we are using the Python one. And all you need to do is do this actor.charge. You put the name of the event you are charging for, and you put how many events you are charging. Like for example, 1. Here we are charging 5 for some mock results. And that's it. You create events in the UI, put a couple of these actor charge statements in your code, and then in the console, in the app after the login, you will see this analytics portal where you actually see your profit. You see the daily profit here. And also you see the number of users, like how many paying users you have, how many free users you have, and a couple of more interesting charts. But to be honest, mostly people are interested in the profit charts and in the user charts. So now your users are being charged, but how do you get the payout, right? How do you get the cash? So it requires nearly no involvement from your side. You need to fill in some billing details, and then once a month, after the end of each calendar month, the system will create this kind of payout invoice, and we will send you the cash. We know how much you have earned because that's automatically calculated in the system. So that's it. Once a month, you get a payout. Final 2 things I would like to mention here is a way to promote your actor. So if you really want to make sure that your actor is like kind of spot on and it follows all the best marketing practices, we have this marketing playbook, which is available at this QR code, or if you just Google actor marketing playbook Epify, you find it, and it talks about things like how to market it on social networks, how to write the readmes, to have the best to be SEO optimized, so optimized for search engines. And apart from this, you can join our Discord, where there is a lot of other creators, such as you, but also other users of your actor, of different actors, where you can discuss anything, you can get help, you can promote your actor, you can promote your work, etc., etc. So this was a short intro into like what actor is and how you can earn money using an actor. And then in the second part, I would like to invite you to take out your laptops, phones, whatever you are using for coding, and then we will create such actor ourselves. Before we jump into that, I would just like to open floor for any questions you might have at this point. Question there. And I don't know if we need to distribute the mic. We need to distribute the mic because of recording, so hold on to your questions. It's here.
Hello.
Thank you for a fantastic presentation. First of all, I have a question about script setup. So why you say that a custom script, which is actually created by us, but developers from scratch, is not recommended? Can you elaborate? Do you use some specific variables, environmental variables? Yeah. Thank you.
No, I just think it's harder. I mean, if you use the template, for example, it gives you the Docker file and that file with metadata, like kind of out of the box. So you can probably even just use the template and copy the Docker file and modify it. But of course, you can create a JSON from scratch. You can like write the Docker file from scratch. You just have to read the documentation to know exactly how the Docker file or the metadata should be structured. It is not like much harder, but it's always easier to have a template and just modify on the top of the template. No worries. Any other questions? Yes, a mic here in the front row, please.
Thank you for the presentation. And what are the Apify's fees structure?
Yes, that's a very good question. So I will just circle back to the kind of a profit profit chart. So the way it works with the pricing model is that, and we have the whole webinar on this, by the way. If you Google, like it was done 2 months ago, I think, and it is a webinar on the pricing. So I won't go into like so much detail here because it is like 1 hour long webinar. But basically, the things that you, the events that you charge for, that's your revenue. That's kind of the income you get. Of course, those runs, those actor runs, they consume, for example, compute, or they consume like internet traffic, and that is subtracted from that revenue. And also, Epify takes 20% margin cut from that revenue. That being said, we now have a promotion until I think end of May or June, I think it's June, that we waive that 20% margin for 6 months for any new actor. So if you create and monetize your actor by the end of June, I believe, then for the first 6 months, that 20% margin doesn't apply. Did I answer the question? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Any more questions? Yeah, one there.
Can you give us a few examples of, the applications that are heavily successful on your platform?
That's a very good question. Yes, I can. And maybe I will actually, give me a sec. No. So, let's turn this off. I will start mirroring so I don't need to turn around all the time. Okay, so now you see what I see. So, as I said before, we are kind of historically the strongest in web scraping. So it will be mostly web scraping actors. So here it is sorted by the relevancy. Kind of the best actors are on the top, and you see it's mostly scrapers. For example, website content crawler, it crawls the web pages. The kind of any web pages you give it to extract text for fine-tuning LLMs, like large language models. Then we have various scrapers for TikToks, for Google Maps, Instagrams, like you name it. From the like non-scraping use cases, for example, one client of ours, they were building this kind of unsubscription flows. So let's say you want to like build a product where people can unsubscribe automatically from, let's say, Netflix, or I think their product was that they can like see what you've been charged for, like what subscriptions you have. Maybe your kids subscribed you to Netflix and things you don't even know about, and then it gave you like one-click kind of solution to unsubscribe from these services. And for example, for that unsubscription part, they used Apify. So that would be some examples. And now, of course, there's this whole emerging trends of AI agents. So for example, let's say you want to build an agent and somebody types in like, I want to book a holiday in Madrid, and it proposes you know, accommodation, it proposes you flights, how to get there, and it kind of automatically behind the scenes, like book it for you. That would be kind of agentic use case, which is emerging now. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Any more questions? Cool. If no, let's jump into coding. We have about half an hour more. So let me just quickly show you what we are going to build. Oh, I turned off the presentation. Just give me a second. Actually, we can go here. Yeah, if you don't want to be coding now, it is a good time to leave. But you're of course welcome to stay and just listen along. So what we are going to build together is an actor which is scraping the PyCon side, right? And let's say, for example, that you would like to connect with the speakers after the end of the PyCon, and you would like to have their names and their talks in some structured format somewhere in Excel or JSON or somewhere. And if the time allows, let's say you also want to have their LinkedIns, like the link to their LinkedIns, like in the metadata for each speaker, so you can ping them a message afterwards. So here on the PyCon website, there are 3 days, right? There is Python Day, then there is Data Day and AI Day. And the basic information is here. There is always a name of the talk, and then there is always the name of the speaker. So now in the first part, we will build a small scraper which extracts these data, and then if the time allows, we will also like enrich it with LinkedIn profiles of those speakers. So first thing I invite you to do is to actually go to the console, and the URL is here. Yeah, I hope you see it. Yes, you do. So log in the console.epify.com, create an account, or you can log in with Google, and use that coupon ID PyCon LT to get those 100 free credits for a month. It's the same thing which is on the leaflets. I will, in this part of kind of workshop, I will talk and guide you along, but it's very hard for me to actually know how far along you are. So if you want me to speed up, there is not so many people, or if you have any question, please just like tell me, please slow down, or you can ask the question right away. It's not really possible in this setup for me to like walk around because it is auditorium, but I will try to do my best. So go to consoleepify.com and create an account. And I will actually do it with you. So all of you should end up somewhere here. And I will give you like one minute to log in. Okay, while we wait, I just want to show you one more URL. It is this one. If you go to my GitHub, github.com/Hamaš Apify demo PyCon Vilnius 2025, I recommend you just to open this page in a different tab. I will actually show you here. Yeah, this is the URL on the top. I hope you see it. Hard to see. Okay, let's. No, it's still hard to see. So this one will be better. So just open this URL. And basically what we are going to do here, there's like a step-by-step guide. And I invite you not to like copy paste everything from there mindlessly. But at any time, if you get lost or maybe you want to, finish at home or play with it, you're always welcome to actually go to that GitHub guide. And it contains the same kind of information we are going to work with now. Okay, so I hope everybody has the GitHub opened and account created, correct? Perfect. So this is the guide, and we are here. So it's time to create our actor. So go to actors and development, and this is the section for the developers. Like if you are creating your own actors, this is where you want to be. If you just want to use something that other people build, you go to the store to find it. But if you are creating something, go to the development. Here you click develop new. And here we have all the templates, right? And please click view all because Python templates are a bit down. And if you choose Python, go and choose Crawley plus Beautiful Soup. So Beautiful Soup is a library, you might be familiar with it, for kind of working with HTML. And Crawley is our kind of in-house signature library, both in Python and in JavaScript TypeScript for doing the scraping and crawling of the web pages. So we will use this one. So I just open it, I use this template, and I have the actor created. So you see the source code, and also so we have this web IDE, so you can modify the source code here. But usually, if you do it kind of in a production fashion, you usually have the source code locally and use command line interface to develop it locally, test it locally. Usually you have it in GitHub, and then there is a GitHub integration to kind of use the code from the GitHub itself. It wouldn't be practical for the workshop, but that would be kind of the production way of doing it. Cool. So before you can actually run the actor, you need to build it. And building is this kind of preparing that container to create an image from the Docker container, so it can be then easily just started. So I just hit build. Yes? Yes, Crowley plus Beautiful Soup. On the mobile phone. So I'm sorry for that. Is it really true? Let me try. There might be some optimization for the phone because there is not enough space on the phone. Maybe. So then I probably just use just Beautiful Soup. I think it will be fine. And when you see anything Crawley related, just try to fit it to Beautiful Soup only. I think it should be possible. Perfect. So I built. Yes, question. Yes, when you build, you prepare the image, and then you are able to start it, right? Once it is built. But I don't start it now because it would just run the default template, right? And I don't want to do that. So instead, let us explore the code together. So as I said before, there's this .actor folder with all the important information relating to kind of how to run it on Epify. There's this Docker file, which is just installing a couple of things and then exposing this command to start it, right? There is actor.json file, just a couple of metadata, most importantly, where the Docker file is. And then there is schema for the input. And you see the input is start URLs. So in the template, you give start URLs you want to work with. And if you don't put anything, the default is epify.com, which we don't want, because instead we want the Python one, right? Because this is the page we'll be working with. So I'll copy this URL, and I copy it here. I save it. And also, of course, in the actor.json, you can modify this to whatever, but that's not important for now. And then just visually, that input, when your user is running the actor, they put the input here. We have this epify.com here still because we haven't rebuilt the actor. We will have the PyCon there after we rebuild. And they either use this UI to start the actor, but more often they integrate it and call it via API or via some kind of integration to integrate our actor into their workflows. So let's rebuild the actor. Now it should be even a bit faster because the Docker is caching the intermediate layers. Yeah, we are building because I changed something in the input schema. So I change this default in the input schema. You don't need to rebuild now. We will rebuild when we modify the source code as well. But I changed this default in the input schema. So now you actually see when you refresh that the new default is this PyCon URL. So of course the most magic happens in the main.py. And I will just remove all these big comments so we actually see the actor. So as I showed before on the slide, first thing, actor is getting the input, right? So those are those start URLs, and it is parsing the start URLs from that input object. And let's get rid of the hard-coded defaults here. They are not needed. And then, okay, if there are none, it exits. Not interesting. And then we create the crawler. So the beautiful soup crawler. And we can just create an empty crawler. And then this request handler function, that's where the magic happens. So down here on the last line, we start this crawler with start URLs. For now, we have just like one URL here, right? The default one, but the user can put like multiple URLs for multiple pages. And for each such URLs, we are calling this function. And we can actually get rid of this part. And we'll just like, for now, we just log the URL. If you don't have crawly, you don't have this request handler function. So we'll just need to read the HTML from the URL directly and then parse it with beautiful soup. You don't have this request handler kind of abstraction there. So now we should be able to save and build this actor. And when I start it, for now, it should just print that single URL that we are actually scraping. So build is finished. So I click start. And you actually see it is printing, scraping, and the URL. So if I go back to the code, so this is where we want the magic to happen, right? And I will zoom in a bit. Do you see it fine? Font size is okay? Okay, thank you. So zoom in a little bit. Okay, this is probably, is this better? Okay, perfect. So this is where we want the magic to happen, right? So we have the URL there that we want to scrape, and it is this URL. So there we want to extract the names of the speakers and the names of their talks and kind of store it in the output. So as of the storing of the output, you can just use this push data from the GitHub. That's using our SDK. So this is how you store the output. But what we don't have is, of course, speaker name. We don't have the talk title, and we don't have the day. And day here, I just envision day something like, you know, Python or data or AI. So basically the last part of that URL, like this Python part here. Okay, so we have this URL. We know that we need to get this, but how, right? And that's where the beautiful soup kicks in. So even if you don't have crawly library, you can use beautiful soup still for this part. So here, just open the developer tools in the browser. So on Mac is Command Option J, but if you don't have Macs, you can just go to, oh, this is Chrome. If you don't have Chrome, it will be somewhere here as well. But in the Chrome, you just get to more tools in the settings, and here we have developer tools. There is also this inspect tool, where you can actually inspect the elements, and in the elements tab, you see the structure of the page in HTML. So you see that there is this main section, which has this article, which has these diffs, right? So each diff is one line. So this is what we are interested in. And when we inspect the diff, so let's say this one, we see that the div has one a element, a link, with a ref, like a path /2025/talks, and then in that a element is actually name of the talk, right? And then there is one span element, which is the name of the speaker itself. So what I now invite you to do, and I will like leave you to it for 2 minutes or so, or maybe actually like hands up who would like to try this independently for a minute or so before I jump in. Okay, we have at least one hand up, so I will give a bit of time to try independently. So in the actor here, you can use this URL to actually get the HTML and use the beautiful soup to find these A elements. I recommend to look for those that have ref, which is /2025/talks. And then from there, you get the text, and you can maybe just look at the kind of parent div and find a span in that div with the name of the speaker. So I will leave it to you. I will leave it up to you for a minute or so, and then I will guide you through how it is done in code. If you have any question in the meantime, you can just raise hand, and I can even walk around, or maybe I can't walk around because I was told not to, but I will try to answer that question in the meantime. And I will actually just take the code from here and lead you through it. So this is where magic happens. Okay. And I also want to get the day. So the day is quite easy because that's just the last part of the URL. So I can just split it and take the last one. So first of all, I get the HTML in context.soup, and I find all the A elements that starts with /2025/talks, right? I iterate through all of them and get the talk title. As I said before, that's just the text of that link. It is just this part. Then I find the parent div, and in that parent div, I find the span, and I extract the speaker name from the span. If there is more of them, I take the last one. You can see that here I have like all those ifs, because with websites you are never like 100% sure it is actually there. It doesn't have to be there, right? There one line can be malformed. So that's why I have all those ifs. And this is it. At the end, I just push the data to the output data set. So if I'm lucky and I rebuild this and start it, and by saying if I'm lucky because live demos never work, we should see that the names of the speakers with their talks are actually in the output. So now it is starting something. Oh, and you actually see that the speakers are appearing in the log, right? And when we check the output tab, this is the default storage, default output storage. We actually see that there is Python day, name of the speaker, and the name of the talk. So actor works. So maybe let's try to do it also for the other days. So for, I believe we have also data day and AI day, right? So I just modify the input. I'm not rebuilding anything. The actor stays the same. The code is the same. And I just start it. And you actually see it is scraping Python data AI, generating a bunch of results. And when I check the output, you actually see all of them are there, including the talk you are currently listening to. Perfect. So this is how you can get the data. So let me just very quickly show you how you actually add the monetization. So if you want to add the monetization, you go to Publication tab. That's where you make the actor public. You go to the monetization section, and you click Setup Monetization. Choose Paper Event Model. That's the model I was describing before. And you can set up some events. So let's say the event will be called Speaker, like when you get the speaker. Speaker title is Speaker Info, and description is getting information on a single PyCon speaker. And let's say you want to charge 2 cents for this. So you continue, you confirm, and now it is monetized. It is still not public, so other people cannot yet use it. And when you run it yourself, you always pay for the underlying kind of compute and traffic and kind of API storage operations. So you do not pay for these events as owner, a kind of creator of that actor. But basically, from the point when you actually make it public, the users will pay 0.02 for each speaker. Of course, you need to modify the source codes as well to add those actor charge events there. So if you go to code, here, just before we push to the output, we can call .charge, and I believe it's event name, and we called it speaker. Give me a second if I have it right. Actually, it's here. Oh, just not even name. So it might be called event name. That parameter might not. So now I have to rebuild the actor as well. Now I run it, and it works still the same way. The only difference is that now it is a paper event because you monetized it. So now when you make it public, every time somebody uses it, they do not pay for the compute or anything else. They only pay 2 cents for each speaker you generate. Out of those 2 cents, 20% goes to Epify. That was the good question from the audience we had before. 80% goes to you, minus any kind of usage and traffic, the data traffic that the run actually consumes. And the last thing I would like to show you is how you would actually make it public. And I just kindly ask you not to do this because once you make monetize actor public, if you want to make any change to the monetization or unpublish it, you need to wait for 14 days because some people might be dependent on the actor. So just, I mean, do it in real life. Just don't do it with this kind of mock actor. But I will do it just to show you. So it's PyCon demo live, and I will unpublish it afterwards. Okay, so demo actor built on PyCon Vilnius. I select some category, let's say automation, I save it, and I publish it to store. And it told me, oh, I need my profile to be public. Okay, I publish. Not a problem. Okay, let's restart. So I'm now publishing it to store for everybody to see. So now it is public. You can see this paper event. This is what the users actually see. It takes a minute or so to synchronize in the Epify store, but it is already there. So when a user goes to epify.com and they search for the actor, they actually find it. This is your new landing page with new URL. This is still the old README from the template, but of course we would change this, and they can just try it for free and start trying it out. they will start paying you as soon as they give us a card and they create a subscription. Then they transition to being a paying user, and then they actually pay you as well. Apart from that, every user has $5 free they can just play with. But for those, you are not charged as well. That's completely covered by Epify. And that's it. As for the LinkedIn part, we don't have time to go into that. So I invite you to explore the last part of the GitHub, getting LinkedIn URLs. You will find the GitHub Hamaš. That's my name. On the way out, feel free to take some leaflets. There are also QR code giving extra $100 in credits for the first month. Get some stickers. Of course, if you have any questions, I will stick around. So please just come talk to me. I'm very, very happy to chat about Epify, scraping, and anything else. So thank you for your attention and have a great rest of the day. Thank you.